Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kiki and today's video is going to be a book review on A Soul of Ash and Blood. This is book 5 in the From Blood and Ash series. I will link down here the reading order for this series. It is a huge series. We have the original series. I believe this was only meant to be a 3-book series and it just kind of blew up, went out of control. We have prequels now, we have timelines merging. It's a full fandom now, and it's a lot. And I can see why this fandom is getting more and more upset as these books go on, because I'm starting to feel this way as well. So this book review is going to be very 50-50. There are parts that I love, and there are parts that I'm not so sure about anymore within this series. So A Soul of Ash and Blood is book 5 in this series. This book is technically, in my mind, a 4.5 book. The way JLA has written this book was really well thought of. I really loved how she picked us up off from A War of Two Queens and has continued the story slightly. But this book is what everyone was asking for. Everyone in this fandom wanted Cass's POV from Blood and Ash. We all wanted it. We wanted to know what Cass was getting up to in our scenes where he wasn't there with Poppy. We want to know that, and so this book was a long time coming for us true fans for this series. We all wanted it, we were all asking for it, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I was thoroughly let down. This book is not what I asked for, it is not what I wanted. It was so disappointing that I wanted to cry at the end of it. I really did love that we got a present timeline and a past timeline in this. So our present timeline is when Cass is sitting next to Poppy when she's in her stasis. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's where she's in a deep sleep. Now, he is told at the beginning of this book that to get her through this and for her to wake up and remember who she is, he should talk to her. So what does he do? He lies next to her, he sits next to her, and he goes back in time and he retells his story of how they met in book 1 From Blood and Ash. And then this is where we get Cass's POV from our first book. So I really love the idea of this. I am someone who loves different POVs of the same book I've already read. Penelope Douglas did it with Bully, with Jared and Tay, and I have to admit I actually loved Until You, which is Jared's POV of Bully, more. Scarlett St. Clair did it as well with her Hades and Persephone series, where she's got Hades books and Persephone's books. Really well done. Both scenarios there I absolutely loved, and I have to admit I do prefer the male's POV more than what I did our female main character's POV. So going into this book, I was super excited. I thought we were going to get a similar thing. But oh my god, it was so boring. Like, so incredibly boring, to the point where at the 40% mark, if she didn't have those present timelines in this book, I would have DNF'd it. And I don't do that. I never DNF a book. I think I've done it once. And it was like so sad, so incredibly sad for me to feel like this, because I love Cass. I love Poppy. I devoured From Blood and Ash. And I wanted more from Cass's POV. I wanted so much more, and I didn't get it at all. Don't get me wrong, I love that we got to get inside Cass's head for that book. I love that we got to experience his trauma from his mind. I love that we got to, see his hardships, see how his mind works, see how his depression was affecting him. It was really eye-awakening to read and to see Cass from that standpoint. I also loved how we got Kieran more as well. But in saying that, when we had our scene that we've already read in From Blood and Ash with Cass and Poppy, it was literally a copy and paste scenario. Copy and paste. And Cass's POV, his feelings and everything for those scenes that we've already read, didn't really give much more insight to it. It didn't make me feel a different way from his point of view. It was such a letdown. And then when we were finally in a scene where Poppy wasn't there, it was so boring. What he got up to when he wasn't with Poppy was boring. That is the only way I can describe it. I could not. I was skimming these scenes. I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't care for this at all. Like, it's so incredibly dull. It was just guard work. There was no substance behind it. There was no action. There was no, like, extra characters involved or anything like that. It was just such a drag. So I got to a point where I was about 50% through the book, where when we were in our past timeline, I have to admit, I was skimming the pages. I was skimming them. I was like, I've read this. Feels like copy and paste. I don't really care. Get me to the present timeline. When we get to the present timeline, now I know how we all feel with the War of Two Queens, okay? The fandom divided on that book. We wanted what we wanted, we got it, but we didn't get it how we wanted it. And a lot of us feel like Poppy and Cass's relationship went in a direction that we don't feel like it should have gone in. And a lot of us are dirty for Kieran. Like, we love Kieran so much, but he's not getting what he deserves anymore either. And it's just a big mess in my mind. I'm going to stick through it though, because the series is a great series and I want to know how it ends. And I have to admit, I'm more of a fan of Sarah. I know that's not how you pronounce her name, but she is forever going to be Sarah in my head, so I apologise to those who do pronounce it correctly. And Nyctos, I love those two so much more now than what I do Poppy and Cass. So for me, I'm continuing this series for them. I also really love Reva, Nectis, Jadis. I love the Draken so much. And to be honest, I would love a Nectis origin story. I think that would be really cool to add into this series. A Soul of Ash and Blood, it kickstarted with a bang. We got Nectis in the first chapter. That was it. That's all we got. We didn't get Nectis for the rest of the present timelines, and I was thoroughly disappointed. As the present timelines came about, they got more and more exciting, and just as I was about to get to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore, I think I'm going to have to put this down and come back to it at a later point, the last present timeline came up, and I didn't realise I was close to finishing the book. And I read that last present timeline and oh wow, okay, what Cass goes through in that last present timeline chapter and how the story has evolved now for that next book is insane. Absolutely insane. And because of that, if you want to continue this series, you have to read this book. You have to read it. And it's incredibly frustrating that you have to read this book to continue the series, or you at least have to read the present chapters, even though the book itself was disappointing. I rated this book 3 stars. Every other book in this series has been a 4.5 or a 5-star book for me, and I'm really sad by it. I love the present timelines, like I've said a million times already. It was such a money grab of a book. I bought this on my Kindle. I went to go buy it in paperback to go with the rest of my books that I have down here. And to be honest, I don't know if I want to buy it because I didn't really like the book. It was a money grab to me, and I don't like that. Like, we've kind of going through it at the moment with Sarah J. Maas with her 5 special editions with 5 different exclusive content. It's just not needed in today's day where everyone is struggling and trying to get back on top of life after the shitstorm we've been through. It's just a waste of money, really. Like, just bring out some novellas. Like, this book could have been a novella, or she could have cut out the present timelines and she could have made it a From Blood and Ash 1.5 book and made it completely Cass's Pov, and kind of done what Scarlet St. Clair did with Hades and Persephone. Like, she could have added so much more into it. That's where I'm at with the From Blood and Ash series, friends. I'm super up and down with it. Hey, I'm excited for the future books. I'm disappointed in the direction it's going in. So we'll see what happens with the next book. I know Nyctos and Sarah's next book, which is the 3rd and final book for the prequel books, comes out. I don't know if it's October or November or December. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere towards the end of this year. So I will definitely be reading that one. If you have read this book, Please drop me a comment below and let me know what you think. Were you disappointed in it as well? Or did you really, really love it? Because I'm very torn with this, hey. That's my super quick review for A Soul of Ash and Blood, friends. Please don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this video as well. And I will see you in the next one.